Okay, I'm back, and I thought I would do something on grids. Grid on 2D or 3D is the same logic for movement. Placing objects is a completely different story, but overall, it's actually quite simple, and yet at the same time, it's also very different. Chew! Oh, excuse me. So if I make a sprite to represent our player, let's see. What can we use? We'll use this person. So we have a sprite. Now, maybe we have a some sort of tile map here. I don't really have any tile map stuff. I could put a tile map. Well, not a tile map, but like, you know, a fake background, anyways. And if you never play with the sprite shape, these things are actually really fun to use. Oh. But yeah, let's I don't know. Let's pretend this is, you know, grass, I suppose. So let's make sure. Okay, he's on Z. He's on. Also on the same Z. And we want this person to move in a grid-like fashion around here. I'm actually going to shrink him down just so it's a little more clear. So now this is technically the same movement with 3D as well. Just we're doing it slightly different. Obviously, because 2D to 3D. So, and there's two styles. There's the point and click, and of course, then there's the normal axes. So let's start with this one. I use two of those. So we want vertical, and we want to store that in a vertical variable, and horizontal. We'll store that into a horizontal variable. So, what do we want to do if we want this person to, say, move over in chunks? And if I use this, right, if I'm at negative 2.5, if I go to 2, that's not going to be far enough. If I go to 1, it's not going to be far enough. If I go to 0, I don't know, will that be far enough? No, I'm going to go about 5. So for now, we're going to use increments of 5. In fact, we're going to put that in a variable. You don't have to do this part, but it's going to make things a little easier. So all we're going to do now is do float compare and float compare and float compare and a float compare. A whole whack of float compares. So if h, we'll say 0.1 is greater, go right. If h is less than negative 0.1, go left. And if v is greater then 0.1, go up, and if V is less than negative 0.1, go down. You could also use the axes of vents for this one. I like to use the float compares personally. Just a personal preference. But there's nothing wrong with the axes of vents. So, what do we need to do? Well, let's get position. We can even use the 2D. I guess we're in 2D. So let's go current position, and that'll be the same no matter which direction. So then we want to vector to add XY, current position, add our increment, and let's finish that one. I guess no. Let's put it into 1, and then set position. So there, I'm going to do 2 of these. I'm going to show you 2 different things. So, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain that. So let's wait. We don't want a big weight, but we do want a little bit of weight. Just a smidge, just a touch, right? So even if it's 0.15, and finish and go back. I'm going to copy this and paste this, and left, go back, but left, obviously we don't want to move to the increment, we want to move to a negative increment. So we want to, what would be the easiest way to do this? Here, let's do this. Float operator. Increment and -1 multiply negative increment. Oh, I didn't mean to do that in that one. I meant to do that in this one. So this one can use the increment, but going left we need to use the negative increment. So let's move that up here. I can probably put it at the top. And we're going to add negative increment. And we're going to set position. And we can literally copy both of those states and paste them, and up and down. Now the only difference here is we're not adding to the X, we're adding to the Y. And this one, we're not adding to the X, we're adding to the Y, the negative. So this will give us more of that more of a snappy movement. It'll be quite quick, right? Where are we here? All right, so let's put our camera somewhere around here. Right. Oh, what do we have here? I think we have let's see. Where's our camera? Camera's there. So our sprite needs to be that way. Shouldn't have to be very far. Ordering layer way out in front. One thing with 2D, typically you're not worth a graphic view as well. Alright. So there we have a movement, right? And like I said, I can push and hold it now. And you have a grid style movement. Right? And all we're doing is getting the position and adding it. Now, with that said, this doesn't have any collisions, but it's a relatively easy thing to add. Because if you're moving in a grid-like fashion, collisions are going to be in predictable places, right? Okay, so that's one way. Now I'm gonna do a small alteration to this, right? So here we have set position to position. Instead, I am going to vector 3 interpolate, and we're going to stick that above the set position. Linear, we're going to go from, okay, so that's one of the other things is we want to, actually I'm going to copy this. This will just be the easiest way. I'm going to get position twice. So current position starter. Okay. And paste that before, paste that before, and paste that before. So we're going to interpolate. We're going to interpolate from, oh, I guess we're using vector 2s. Vector 2 interpolate. Might as well be consistent, right? So before the set position. So we're going to go from the starter to the current, because the current's modified, and over a period of time, and it doesn't need to be very fast, right? And then on finished, it can actually use the finished event. So let's shorten that up even more. But now we have to store the result. So this is going to be set position. And now we're setting position to set position every frame. Okay. So now let's go down here, paste it before, paste it before on this one, and paste it before on this one. And then just because, so this one's now going to set position every frame. Set position every frame, and set position every frame. So that'll give us a little kind of a smoother look. Let's just fix this up. Let's fix this up while I'm not in play mode, so we keep the saving. Right, so there we have it, like it much smoother. Right, but same idea. Like it's still doing the same thing, but it's smoother. So I think with that one, I would want to. Okay, well, first of all, we need to get rid of the weights. We don't actually want the weights when we're using the interpolation, because the interpolation has its own time, but I'm going to actually speed that up to a 0.15 on itself. Right, so now we have, yeah, that looks a lot nicer. But like I said, I mean, if I just tap the direction, like it's moving that full position. Right, so we are, for example, we are where is this thing? So this guy, all right, yeah, there we go. Now we can see it. Right, like here it's on, well, it's underneath the player. Let's put it above the player. And if I move, let's now duplicate that. All right, so now we have, as you can tell, like it's actually, like your character is moving in these little sections. So there's that. Now, said now this thing doesn't have collisions, and of course you're gonna want collisions, right? And said, and you can adjust this, right? Like if we went with 20, I'll show you what that does. Now it's much bigger, right? And if I was to take that down to 10 now, right? So you got to find whatever works for you, right? I don't know what the numbers are or the scale of what you're working with, but obviously it's going to be the same going in all four directions. But collisions, right? So we have collisions. We have this whole world right here, and this is moving. So we would need some sort of way to detect if there's like a wall. Like if I put this guy here, you know, and I scale him up, and I give him a polygon collider, I don't want to hit that thing, right? His order is 0, right? So I don't want to hit it. So on the movements, all we have to do is add something to all four of them, right? I'm just going to use a raycast 2D. So we are going to use, you know, from here, ourself, and we can use a distance of that increment value. For example, and hit. We hit something, and then I want a next frame. If there's a non-hit event, not in this particular action, raycast 2D. No. See, I mean, if you look at raycast 2, one of the things it has is a hit event and a no hit event. So I don't know. I mean, if you look on ecosystem. Raycast 2D should have something like that as well. There's no reason why it can't. But that's why I'm putting this next frame event. So this next frame event is kind of my it did not hit event. It's not a big deal. I mean, like, you don't need to worry about it if you don't want to find another thing. It doesn't matter. Just flat out doesn't matter. Okay, so going right, we're going that direction. So if we hit something, I'm just going back. If we didn't, okay, go right. Copy, paste. We're going left. We hit something, go back. If not, go that way. Left is -1. Right? And copy and paste. And we're going up. So we hit something, go that way. If not, go over here. So up. And paste. And we're going down. We hit something, or we didn't hit something. Down. -1. Right, and we can debug these, so we can see them hopefully a little better. Make sure that distance is good. Right, so let's bring that back down. You see that little yellow line? That's our raycast. We probably want to push that out. See, I'm hitting left. Oh. Okay, so we have a minor issue there. So I think go right. Oh, that's supposed to go here. No, go right goes up here. Sorry. Left, up, down. So I wonder if that's all it's doing. All right. Anyways, so let's do float operator, and we'll take increment value and 2 and multiply and store as ray value, and move that to the top, and distance can now be ray value. So we're doubling that distance. And again, you don't technically have to do this either. All right. So here we have, but now you see that ray, it's a little farther. So now it's, oh, we hit that, we can't go any farther. But we are getting a hit event, and that's causing us to have an infinite loop. And that's what that is I'm pushing, well, in this case, I'm pushing left, right? So it's getting the axis. And if you can try to picture this in one frame, in one frame we have an axis value, and it's obviously high enough that we are, well, I guess low enough that we've gone below the -0.1, so we want to go left, right? We're going left. This is in one frame. During that same frame, we're ray casting, and we've hit something. So we go back, we go here, and we've hit something, we come back. But in this one, we're still in that same frame. This one's saying, hey, go over here. This one's saying, come back. This one's saying go over here, and it's happening in one frame, which is what this infinite loop is, which is why it's having an error. So to fix that, I am going to put a next frame right here, and it's going to go back up here. So we hit something now, it's just going to go into this for all of them. Ba-doop, ba-doop, just like that. So now we have, there, we hit something, now we're hitting it. You can see that little yellow line. said now I'm using a raycast. If you want to use multiple raycasts for this, you always could. You could use box casts for this as well. But that's, you know, some nice basic 2D grid movement. Now, alternatively, right, and if you're doing 3D, this would be literally the same thing, only you're putting it on a 2D plane. You're not going up and down. You're using left and right and forward and back. So, if I create a train, and we come over here, I can, I'm going to show you another method, and this one actually works with AI as well. This method won't work with AI. And, well, I suppose it could, but a fair bit of work to get that up and going with AI. So, let's bake so we have a navigational mesh. Alright, so now that we have a navigational mesh, let's create a player. That is our player. Now I'm going to go back to, oops, perspective. And what we need to do now is I can do point and click with just putting a navigational agent on this and telling him to go wherever I click. But that's not exactly what we want to do, is it? No, we want a grid. So this is what I want to do. I want to create an empty. So this is going to be our navigation, and this one will be our player, or whatever. So this guy, navigation, agent. If I could spell it right, it wouldn't be so hard, right? So now if I add an FSM, I can get mouse button down. So we've clicked left, and we go left, we come over here, we mouse pick, and we're going to pick the point. Okay, first I'm also going to do a layer mask. I only want to hit, we'll say, default. And we're going to pick the point and say move position. And then normally I would do a sample position on that. I'm not really too worried about that right now. And then agent set destination to the move position, and then I'm just going to finish and go back. Now I want this guy to be on a different layer because I don't want to be able to click on him, right? So that, I mean, just with that, as you see, like he clicks and he moves around, right? Pretty simple, but that's not grid, and what we want is a grid. So which is why I put these into two things. So this guy, I am literally just going to get position every frame X, Y, Z, and we're going to float round we're going to take the X and we're going to round it as a float. We can probably store it back in the X. That should work. I don't see why it wouldn't, but we'll test it because you never know. Y, store in the Y. Z, store in the Z. Set vector 3 X, Y, Z. And this is going to be our, well, we did it with those ones. We should technically be able to do it with, we don't have a vector 3 value. We're just getting that. Alright, well, fine. Set position. Every frame. X, Y, Z. And set position. Move right to the bottom. World to set position. I suppose I could just use the X's. Alright. So he's going to move, and he's should be capping himself. Oh, whoops. So get position of our, not of ourself, of this guy. The whole idea is to follow him. And there we have some point and click movement, right? Pretty cool, huh? Now, what if we said add FSM space counter? So get position and how would I want to do that? I'm getting position and it is current every frame. Get position once before. Call this one cached. Not every frame. Vector 3 operator. Move to the bottom. So cached to current and distance. Every frame, that's the distance. Now float compare. Move him to the bottom. If distance is, we'll say, greater 0.5. I don't know if that's going to work for us. If distance is no. If right, we should have, let's just see what that thing does distance wise. So right now it's 1. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. So we have get position X, Y, and Z. and we're rounding them off. Set position. We should have vector 3. Actually, yeah, you know what? That might be a better idea. Let's just get vector 3. Get FSM vector 3. We should just be able to use FSM. Set position to the cache. Paste every to the current. Let's vector 3 operator. Let's subtract those. We should get a vector that should technically be 0. Right, because it's 0, we've moved. Okay, good. So that's good. So now, length, get vector length. So if this guy's length, I can probably just reuse that distance variable we made. Now, float compare. Or I could even use float change, I suppose. Float change. If distance has changed, then we are going to finish and come back into the state in the next frame. But while we're out of the frame, or out of that state, let's get something. Move point. We'll call it, I suppose. I don't know. And we could int add, or you can subtract from the pool. I guess it really doesn't matter. Move point, add 1. Right, so now technically if I was to say on this guy from up here on left, I could say, okay, well, before we go here, let's go down here, and if move point, is at 0 or above, whatever, we're not going to tell the character on the move. And as the character's moving, if this hits a certain point, then tell the agent to stop moving. But there we have it's climbing. Almost want to put a little bit of a weight into that one. Right, because it's almost hopping. Let's put a 0.2. pretty decent, I think. But anyways, yeah, like, and you could use this to limit movement or to stop movement as well. So you know, you can have like a tactical style game, right? I mean, even the mouse click. I mean, I'm just using it to move this agent. I mean, I could click on an agent, store it into a variable that if this is on something else, and then tell that variable to move, not the owner to move said position, right? But anyways, I thought I would do stuff like that for a little bit of grid movement. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.